insurance does an excavating contractor need? How much does it cost? What are the bare minimum coverages do you need? My name is Nate Jones. I run this YouTube channel. I talk about business ideas, scaling your business, growing your business, selling your business, and how to make more money through becoming a business owner. I've posted tons of videos, and today I'm going to review the excavating business and what insurance do you need. Why am I qualified to tell you about business insurance and specifically excavating? Well, I own Wexford Insurance. I'm the owner, CEO, and we have a DBA called Excavating Insurance Partners. We created the DBA because we insure probably over 250 to 300 excavating contractors across the country in over 47 states. We know excavating contractors, we know land clearing, septic, directional drilling, anything to do with underground, digging basements, clearing land, water main installation, water laterals, anything that an excavating contractor, demolition, dump truck hauling, anything that an excavating contractor does, we have likely insured it. We've insured some crazy excavating contractors. We've insured ones that are just doing, 5 or 6 jobs a year, just doing it on the side. Does not matter, okay? So I know exactly what they need. I know exactly what the cost is. So I'm gonna dive into it right now and not waste any time. As always, if you want a quote on your business insurance, we insure so many contractors. Fill out the link below to request a quote. I'll also put the phone number there. You can call us right away and we'll help you out, okay? So first coverage that you'll need is general liability. This is the bare minimum. If you have nothing else, you should have general liability, okay? General liability protects you if somebody gets hurt on your job site that's not an employee or a worker for you. So let's say homeowner comes out, you're digging a basement, and he comes out and he falls into the hole. Even though it's his fault, he might try to sue you. Anybody gets hurt on your job site, they might try to sue you. Maybe you didn't do anything. Maybe you didn't even do anything wrong. Maybe you accidentally left something unmarked or something happened. Somebody gets hurt, general liability protects you on that. Usually we see coverages up to $1 million, $2 million aggregate, okay? Also, general liability covers property damage. God forbid you're digging and the utilities weren't marked right and you hit a gas line. Maybe you hit a sprinkler. Maybe you hit a water line. Maybe you hit someone's barn as you're going to their backyard to dig for a pool. Maybe you hit something that you shouldn't have hit. You hit an electrical line or something. You hit something while you're working, you cause property damage. Maybe you hit it, you're tearing down a tree and it falls and it hits someone's house. We see random claims for property damage all the time. So main 2 coverages, bodily injury, property damage. There's also coverage for personal and advertising injury if you defame somebody or talk bad about another company. Okay, so pricing for that, depending on where you're at in the country, is anywhere from $800 to $2,000 for the year for a small excavating company with just you. Now, if you add some employees, that kind of goes up a little bit, but to just start out, you could probably get a really good policy for under $2,000 for the year. In all likelihood, probably anywhere from $50 to $120 a month. Very inexpensive, very easy, depending on what you're doing. Now, if you're doing some crazy stuff, demolition, maybe you're doing a bunch of stuff, it kind of muckies the water. But again, we have so many markets that it's very easy for us to find a good, cost-effective policy for you, okay? Another coverage that you'll need since you have equipment or you may be renting equipment is you need contractor's equipment coverage. This covers your skid steers, your excavators, your backhoes, your dozers. If you want to rent equipment, it covers in case that equipment's stolen or it's destroyed or it catches on fire or it's struck by lightning. We had one of those this year. So equipment gets stolen all the time. We have claims all the time. People get their equipment stolen. We have to turn it in. Maybe they find it, maybe they don't. But that covers your $100,000 skid steer, your $150,000 mini excavator or excavator. It covers that equipment that you've put a lot of money in that you might even have a loan on. So if you have a loan on it, it's required. We make sure that we communicate with the loan company to make sure they're aware that it's covered. But it's super important to have that. You don't want your equipment stolen or if it's destroyed. You put a lot of money into this. Make sure it's insured. For a $100,000 piece of equipment, you're looking at anywhere from $500 to $800 for the year, depending on where you're located. So, $40 to $70 a month, $40 to $60 a month is not bad. So if you kind of use that barometer, you can kind of tell where you're going to be. The next coverage is commercial auto. Why do you need commercial auto if you're using your personal truck? Well, your personal auto policy may not cover if you're driving for business use. Sometimes they try to fight back on claims. Maybe they don't cover it at all. Okay, if you're hauling equipment and you're getting up to higher weights and somebody pulls in front of you, you can't stop and you hit them in the rear end, even though it may not be your fault. Maybe they're driving crazy. Does not matter. What could happen is they could sue you, and if your personal auto policy does not cover you, that's why you need a commercial auto policy. This covers, usually we say a standard is about $1 million of coverage. Because you're a business, people might try to sue you for more because they might think you have deeper pockets as a business owner. So that covers the truck and the trailer, and it covers liability, uninsured motorist, somebody hits you, flees the scene, or underinsured, maybe they have insurance but they don't have enough. So there's a whole bunch of coverages that we can add on to that for commercial auto. Usually that runs in the Midwest anywhere from $800 to $1,200 per truck. If it's just like up to a $3,500. If it's a dump truck, obviously that goes up to like $2,000 to $3,000 for the year. If you're outside of the Midwest, it goes up a little bit. So if you're outside of the Midwest, you're just a truck, maybe $2,000 to $3,000 for the year. A dump truck, maybe $3,000 for the year. Obviously, we try to get you the best rate we can. Some states are harder than others, but I would say around $1,000 to $2,000 a truck is a great price that we see consistently. Trailers, you're looking at under $500 for the year to insure a trailer, because usually they're not that expensive. You get into the bigger trailers, goes up a little bit, but not very expensive. You get into the dump trucks, the tractors, you're looking more in the $2,000 to $5,000 range, depending on your state. So again, this is kind of comparable to personal auto, but it's commercial auto policy, so you want to make sure you're covered properly and have those big rigs, those big trucks covered, okay? Another coverage you might need is if you have helpers, workers, somebody helping you out for the day, employees, you might need a workers' compensation policy. Definitely if you have employees, you need a work comp policy. That covers your employees if they get injured on the job. You, as an employer, are supposed to have a safe work environment. If your work environment's not very safe and somebody gets injured on the job, they're entitled to workers' compensation benefits, okay? So, I pay my employees $10.99. Why do I need work comp? Well, depending on the state, most states look at an employee, not how you pay them, but how you treat them. So if you treat a 1099er or somebody who's working for you for cash for the day as an employee, you tell them when to show up, how long to work, provide materials for their job, and basically treat them just like an employee, but they're just not paid W-2. From the state, they could be entitled to workers' compensation benefits, which means if they get hurt, they could find a lawyer and they could say, I should have work comp because this shouldn't have to go against my medical bills and my deductible, right? So they potentially could sue you for that. So that's why I always tell people, if you have a helper, make sure you have work comp. Work comp can be anywhere for about, if you're paying somebody $30,000 a year, anywhere from like $1,000, less than $1,000 in some states, to about $2,000. So anywhere in that delta for like a $30,000 in payroll up to $50,000, you're looking at about anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 for the year as well. So it's not very expensive for what you're paying somebody, because you're making sure that you're covered. What you don't want is an injured employee and a lawsuit coming your way because you didn't have workers' comp, okay? So to review real quick for the base coverages: general liability, contractor's equipment, commercial auto, work comp. Outside of those four, so what we normally see, we see an umbrella policy. So if you get into residential tract homes, commercial jobs, where you're doing bigger excavation jobs, you're gonna need an umbrella. The contracts require you to have extra liability coverage. We have the general liability, the auto, and the work comp. Those are your three liability policies. The umbrella sits on all three of those. Sometimes it may only sit on the general liability, depending on your contract and your unique situation. So you have $1 million general liability policy and a $5 million umbrella. So you have a total of $6 million in limits. Some contracts require you to have $6 million. If they require you to have $6 million, then you have to have an umbrella policy on top of that. Sometimes, unique scenarios, you may need a pollution policy or a professional policy, maybe a crime policy. And we also do a lot of bonds for our contractors: excavating bonds, right-of-way bonds, permit bonds, license bonds. There's bonds all over the place, and it's crazy. It's all over the place. Bonds are very inexpensive. They're usually like $75 to $100 per bond. So very easy to do. So those are the main coverages that we see. An umbrella policy usually starts anywhere from $500 to $1,200 for the year for an extra $2 to $3 million. So it kind of goes up from there. So all in, if you were to get the four main coverages, I think you'd be under $4,000. I don't think you'd have to pay for that. So if you're a startup excavating company and you're saying, hey, what the heck do I need? What's the bare minimum? I would say if you need in all four coverages, you have some helper, commercial auto, contractor's equipment, general liability, no reason you should be spending more than $3,000 to $4,000 a year. Again, if you need a quote, maybe you're pissed off at your agent, you're paying way more than that, you feel like you're overpaying, you feel like you're paying so much in insurance, it's insane, give Wexford Insurance a call. I'll have the link in the bio below. You can reach out to us, call us right now, or fill out the link below. Either way, and what we'll do, if you fill out the link, we won't call you, we will text you and email you first. Okay, so if you're like, hey, I don't want to talk on the phone, good, just fill out the link, we'll text you. Our salespeople, we have 6 salespeople on our team. And Robbie or Kyle will likely reach out to you and text you and say, hey, we'd be happy to help you out. Tell me what you're doing, what are your operations, so we can make sure you're covered. As always, please like and subscribe to this channel. We provide helpful content, business content. We don't only talk about insurance. Actually, 99% of my videos are not about insurance, but I have an expertise in insurance, so I decided to make a video about excavating contractors and what insurance you need. As always, just, we own an independent agency, and what that means is we work with multiple insurance companies. If you are not working with an independent agent, I strongly urge you, if it's not me, go call somebody, get a price check, make sure you're working with somebody who knows how to do this stuff, because it can get screwed up very easily. All right, like and subscribe. Thank you.